Welcome back to Pokemon Episode Summaries. Today, I'll be doing episode 439, Spontaneous Combustion. The episode begins with Ash and the gang having arrived on May's destination, where she would partake in her next Pokemon contest, Chrysanthemum Island. The first thing Ash and the gang did was go outside the contest hall, and they saw all the already registered coordinators preparing all their Pokemon and training with them, while having their shirts off and in their bathing suits, since they were on the island, after all. All the Pokemon that could be seen included a coordinator with his Blastoise, a coordinator with their Nidorina, a coordinator with a Psyduck, one with a Machop, one with a Hypno, one with a Hoothoot, one with a Skarmory, one with a Gardevoir, one with a Breloom, one with a Machopia, one with a Meditite, and one with a Castform. Seeing all these coordinators training, Ash got inspired to do some training himself, because the entire boat ride to the island, he had been stressing about how Sceptile, because of its heartbreak, according to Nurse Joy last episode, wasn't able to do any attacks anymore. So Ash wanted to practice with Sceptile to see if it could do attacks again. First, Ash had Sceptile try a Bullet Seed, but it only managed to create a small bit of smoke, even worse than last time, when it at least managed to get out like 2 seeds. Ash was about to call for Sceptile to try the attack again, when suddenly Drew came up to him, confronting him. Drew greeted Ash and went up to Sceptile, petting it, advising that Ash should see things from Sceptile's perspective. Ash, yelling at it to use attacks when it couldn't, was only making it more stressed, and was in turn probably making it even harder for Sceptile to get attacks off. May then interrupts Drew and asks him about the letter she received back in Wisteria Town, although Drew says that he actually didn't send the letter. Although May thought that he was playing dumb at first, though Drew explained that he wasn't even going to be competing in this contest, and instead traveled to Chrysanthemum Island to take a little break and rest up on the beach and the resort. May finally realized that Drew wasn't playing dumb, but she questioned who the fuck wrote the letter if it wasn't Drew then, because she thought only Drew would send her a rose. Meanwhile, we then see Team Rocket by the beach on the island, with Jessie dressed in her attire that she was going to use in the upcoming contest that she planned to enter. And she also planned to use Mime Jr. in the contest, as she looked around at all her competitors and said that if she was going to win, she would need a beauty, and proceeded to dance around with Mime Jr. Mime Jr. actually seemed pretty excited to be entering the contest, though James was far from excited. He was pleading Jessie to be very, very, very careful with his sweet Mime Jr., and also pleading with her not to have it get hurt during the performance. Meowth was just annoyed, both with Jessie's overreaction when it came to declaring herself as beautiful, and James's overreaction when it came to Mime Jr.'s constant safety. We then cut back to May, who was far away from Jessie, James, and Meowth, but still on the beach, with Brock, Max, and Ash watching, as May sent out both her Combusken and Munchlax to train them both for the upcoming contest, since she planned to use Munchlax in the appeal round and Combusken in the battle round. Brock, Ash, and Max all agreed this was a good idea, as May started off by having Combusken and Munchlax train against each other, with Munchlax starting off with a focus punch on Combusken, although Combusken dodges the attack. So, since Munchlax had jumped towards Combusken to launch the attack, Munchlax continued to go flying past Combusken, straight into a girl who happened to be walking past. A young one at that. Thankfully for the girl, though, she dodged this, so Munchlax kept going and crashed into the soft sand, not even hurting itself, since the sand was so soft. It just basically buried itself and couldn't get out. May was concerned for the little girl and walked up to her, asking if she was alright, and the girl confirms this, as Ash, Brock, and Max tried their best to lift Munchlax up from the sand, and they were eventually successful. Even though the girl was fine, May still felt bad for everything that happened with Munchlax, so she went to apologize for Munchlax's bad behavior. Although, the girl introduced herself as Brianna, and admitted that everything was fine, and she claimed that she was just happy to meet May, since May was her idol, and she really wanted to meet her in person, adding that she had seen the previous contest that May had participated in person, because she had went to the island and was in the crowd, so she decided to send May the letter, in hopes that May would come to the contest on this island, so she could meet her. May was in disbelief that someone other than Drew actually sent her the letter, although Brianna proved this was the case by handing May a single rose, revealing that she obviously had roses in her possession. But as she was giving May the rose, Munchlax, who had been freed from the sand, jumped forward and grabbed it from her hand and ate it, devouring it in one single bite. After May gave a brief scolding to Munchlax, she admitted that she did believe Brianna, that she was the one who wrote the letter, but she was still a little shocked that Drew didn't write it. Obviously, Brianna didn't know that May knew Drew, and must have only become a fan of May's after her most recent contest, because she was shocked to learn that May knew Drew. And Brianna revealed that she wasn't just a fan of May's, but a fan of Drew's as well. So May decided to do something nice for Brianna, which was taking her to Drew. And May remembered that off-screen, Drew had told her that he was going to a hotel on the island to relax. So the two of them went to this hotel, and after searching for a bit, they came out to the pool area and saw him relaxing on a chair by the pool in swim trunks, with a towel over his abs. Brianna was blushing upon seeing Drew, not wanting to disturb his relaxation, but May encouraged Brianna to go up to him, even though a whole bunch of other girls were admiring him from afar. Convinced, Brianna went up to Drew, along with May, and greeted him and his Roselia, who was under his Pokeball, relaxing with Drew, and May introduced Brianna to Drew formally. Brianna admits that she was a huge fan of Drew's, so much so that she got inspired to become a coordinator after she saw his performances. Drew was very happy to hear that, and stood up off of his lawn chair, as he and his Roselia blushed a little bit from Brianna's compliments, and then him and Brianna shook hands. Although it was admittedly a bit awkward, because May had just whispered in Drew's ear, basically demanding him to shake her hand and be nice, and even though Drew was going to do that anyways, it was still a bit awkward. Brianna then revealed that she would be entering the contest on this island, and while Drew said that he wouldn't, he wished Brianna best of luck in the contest, and left, saying goodbye to her. With Drew gone, basically Brianna just goes absolutely fucking insane, total fangirl mode, like simping for Drew, like, oh my god, Drew's so fucking awesome, yeah. And she also reveals that no matter what, she was planning to beat May in the contest, informing May that Drew had respect for May, and Brianna wanted his respect too, and the only way she could get Drew's respect was if she became a top coordinator, becoming better than Drew himself. And if she wanted to become better than Drew himself, first, she would have to defeat May in their upcoming contest, leaving May absolutely shocked by the fiery determination that Brianna possessed. Though Brock, Ash, and Max, who were watching from above the pool area, thought that the determination that Brianna had was just what May needed to motivate her to do good in the contest too. And also commented that they didn't think Drew deserved the fame that he had. A bit later, we then cut to the inside of the contest hall, which started with Lillian declaring that it was time for the contest to officially begin, and she hyped up the audience, saying that the contest was going to be fucking awesome, and the audience cheered immensely when they heard this. Lillian then introduced herself and the judges, which made the audience cheer even more. After Lillian officially announced the rules of the contest, she officially declared that it was time for the contest to begin, starting with the appeals round, and first she called out Jessie with her Mime Jr., who she didn't even have to send out, as she immediately walked onto stage with it. Just as Jessie was expecting, the crowd roared when they saw her magnificent outfit that was based on Hawaiian attire, and they roared even louder when they saw that Mime Jr. was dressed in that same attire as well, as soon as it was sent out from its Pokeball. Although James, Meowth, and Wobbuffet in the audience were still a bit skeptical that Mime Jr. should have been used for this contest, and James was worried Mime Jr. could get hurt or some shit. Jessie's performance involved Mime Jr. rotating on its upper head, dancing, while Jessie performed a small hula dance, which made the crowd go absolutely wild as Jessie's performance came to an end. Lillian hyped Jessie up, saying that she just performed an awesome performance, and Raul Contesta, Mr. Sukizo, and the Island's Nurse Joy, all the judges, gave Jessie high praise. Even James, who was worried for his Mime Jr., gave as much praise as everybody else, literally developing hearts in his eyes due to how beautiful Jessie, and particularly his Mime Jr. was. Even Meowth and Wobbuffet were smiling. Without further ado, Lillian officially called out the next coordinator, May, who gladly walked on stage when Jessie went backstage and twirled her Pokeball and jumped up in the air, spinning around as she sent out Munchlax for her appeals round Pokemon. Max and Ash instantly cheered Munchlax on, along with Brock, while May had Munchlax start things off with a solar beam very quickly, which made sun shine around the entire contest hall. And this was no regular sun, it was filled with extra colors too. Right as May used this attack, Drew joined Ash, Max, and Brock in the audience, while Brock was comparing the solar beam to the real sun, although Drew admitted that while the attack was good, it wasn't really on par with the actual sun. Oh, come on, dude. Anyways, next, May had Munchlax use metronome, so Munchlax started to move its hands in synchronization. Ash, Max, and Brock were worried about May using metronome, knowing how risky the attack was, and how it usually backfired on her. Drew knew this as well, and just fucking laughed at May's amateur mistake. May thought it wasn't a mistake, because, she knew that the metronome could potentially be a risk, but she needed to take risk in order to win. Unfortunately, though, the risk didn't pay off, as the metronome backfired, because Munchlax ended up using rest, making it fall asleep. May had prepared for this worst-case scenario, though, and although she hesitated, because she feared that maybe the judges would kind of dock points off of her for doing this, she saw that the judges already weren't impressed with Munchlax sleeping, especially Raul Contesta and Mr. Sukizo, and I guess Nurse Joy was too. So, desperate times called for desperate measures, as she took out one of her purple surprise Pokeblocks that Munchlax really liked, and threw it to Munchlax, which made Munchlax instantly awaken, sensing its favorite food, and it devoured the Pokeblock in mid-air while spinning, very fancily. Ash, Max, and Brock were initially worried for May and how her appeal round would turn out, but now they weren't. Anyways, May then commended Munchlax on catching the Pokeblock in such a cool way, and instructed it to use a Focus Punch, and Munchlax did so while it was coming down, and it used the momentum from the Focus Punch to push itself up a little bit after it landed, so instead of landing down hard, it landed down slower and more gracefully. Munchlax was very happy with its performance, as was May, who congratulated it. Ash, Max, and Brock were impressed by the performance too, and even Drew had to admit that it was pretty cool. After Lillian congratulated May and told her that it was time for her to get off the stage for now, Lillian introduced the next coordinator up, which was Brianna, who sent out her Surskit as her appeals Pokemon, and she immediately had it use an Ice Beam to completely cover the stage, after she bowed gracefully to the audience. Because of this Ice Beam, Surskit was able to follow up using agility, and it jumped while on the ice and rolled around while on the ice, making a whole bunch of moves like an ice skater would across the frozen stage. Lillian, Ash, and the gang, and Drew were already semi-surprised by this and shocked by this, but they were even more impressed when Surskit finished the performance by doing a super high-speed spin in one singular spot. Surskit then comes to a slow stop as Lillian, as well as all three of the judges and the crowd, cheer for Brianna's performance, with all three of the judges admitting that for Brianna's first ever performance, it was really fucking good, and Brianna was very happy to have gotten these compliments. And when she went into the waiting room where all the other coordinators were, she got another compliment from May. Although, even after all these compliments, Brianna blushed a little bit, worried that she may not make it to the next round, but May pumped up Brianna, assuring her that she would make it, and told her to have confidence. We then see a few more performances who Lillian all introduced, including one with the coordinator with the Hoot, one with the coordinator with the Hypno, one with the coordinator with the Blastoise, and one with the coordinator with the Cast Form, among several others, until eventually the first round was finished. So, Lillian officially directed all of the coordinators to look at the screen, which would show the 8 coordinators who were advancing to the battle rounds. May was admittedly a bit concerned about the coordinator with the Blastoise, since the Hydro Pump it used looked pretty cool, but May was relieved, along with Brianna and Jessie, who had been eagerly awaiting the results too, since May, Brianna, and Jessie all found out that they had made it to the second round, the battle rounds rather. May and Brianna celebrated that they were both advancing by freaking out and grabbing onto each other's hands, kind of annoying all the other coordinators, including Jessie, who stated she had no reason to celebrate, because it was pretty obvious she was going to advance. Back in the audience, Max asked Ash what he thought May should do for the battle rounds in the contest, specifically what Pokemon she should use, and Ash replied that she should use Munchlax after watching Munchlax's appeal round, although Ash was disappointed when Brock reminded Ash that May said she was going to use Combustion in the battle rounds. Drew stated that no matter who May used, she likely wouldn't win, because Brianna was pretty good. We just kind of pissed Ash, Max, and Brock off, reminding Drew that if he was going to fucking sit there, then maybe he should be a little nicer. Although Drew teased that he was just teasing, which pissed Brock, Ash, and Max off even more. Lillian then directed the audience's and the coordinator's attention to the screen once again, as it was now showing the matchups for the first round of the battle rounds. May would be facing Jessie in the upcoming bat round. May was excited for this, mostly excited to show Drew what skills she actually had, wanting to prove to him that she could beat him and all that. Although, this confused Brianna, stating that May was talking about Drew too much. She didn't think that other coordinators thought about each other all that much. She thought they were mostly unrelated, although May clarified that she and Drew were rivals, so of course he would be on her mind. Brianna accuses May of loving Drew since he was on her mind so much, although May wasn't even able to deny this. She only blushes. So Brianna just states that made it obvious that May liked Drew, which made May yell at Brianna, and Jessie heard this argument that was brewing and stated that arguing was actually a sign of love, and stated that if they wanted to prove whether it was really an argument or a sign of love, then May and Brianna should face off. And Jessie clarifies that she would love to see a battle like that. Although May reminded Jessie that it would be her and Jessie that were battling, not her and Brianna. And Jessie panics at this, not knowing this, and she knew that she would have to be on her A game to go up against May. Without further ado, the battle between May and Jessie began, with May and Jessie fiercely sending out their Combustion and Mime Jr., respectively. Even though Mime Jr. was James's. Yeah, that's right, Jessie was using Mime Jr. for both rounds. Once Combustion and Mime Jr. landed next to each other, Combustion started off the battle by going for a Fire Spin, but Mime Jr. was able to dodge and use Mimic to copy the Fire Spin and use it on Combustion, which in turn made May lose some of her points. Lillian then complimented the amazing Mimic strategy and commented that May's points usually didn't go down that far. James was definitely worried for Mime Jr. in the battle rounds of all things, but regardless, he shouted out his support for it, hoping it would do alright against Combustion. Drew, seeing May lose her points, was smiling a little bit, thinking that May would probably lose, but deep down, he kind of wanted May to win. Anyways, Combustion manages to recover from the Fire Spin and rushes towards Mime Jr. with a quick attack, and Mime Jr. and Combustion both clash, which caused Jessie's points to go down, since Combustion had really crashed into Mime Jr. However, Mime Jr. was able to maneuver itself in midair behind Combustion and started to tickle it, making May lose a substantial amount of her points, worrying Ash and the gang immensely, and Drew somewhat. Next, Mime Jr. uses Fire Spin again, since if it mimicked an attack once, it could continue to use it, but much to Lillian, Brock, Ash, Max, and even Drew's amazement, Combustion powers through this Fire Spin, and instead just absorbs its power, being a fire type and all, and it jumps through the fire to knock Mime Jr. to the ground with a Sky Uppercut, which knocked Mime Jr. out. So, with that, Lillian officially declared that Mime Jr. was unable to battle, so May had won the battle, and advanced to the semifinals, and the screen showed this. While James was obviously distraught and terrified regarding Mime Jr.'s defeat, Jessie, on the other hand, just picked up Mime Jr. and went to May, congratulating her on the win, but specifying that she may not win the entire contest, since Brianna could definitely be a good challenge for her. We then see that Brianna was watching May and Jessie's battle from the waiting room, and she saw the screen declaring May the winner, and hoped that she could win too, and face May. The matchups then continued, and eventually, May won her semifinal round. Brianna had won her top 8 round and her semifinal round, so that meant that the finals was between May and Brianna, which Lillian really hyped up, promising the audience that this would be a really good motherfucking battle. And she went over how May had beat a guy in her semifinal match, and Brianna had beat a guy and a girl in her top 8 and top 4 match. Anyways, it was now time, without further ado, for the battle to begin. So the 5-minute timer that had been present for all battles so far started, and both trainers' profiles came on screen as they both sent out their Pokemon. As the crowd cheered, very hyped for the battle. May, of course, sent out a Combustion, while Brianna sent out her Vibrava. May starts off the battle by having Combustion go for a quick attack, but Vibrava uses Screech, which causes the quick attack to stop, since Combustion has to cover its ears, which in turn drops May's points. Vibrava doesn't let up on the Screech attack until Combustion launches a Fire Spin for a direct hit, which impressed Drew a bit after getting mad at May for her blunder at the beginning of the battle, since Brianna's points were starting to go down. But the Fire Spin didn't do that much, because Vibrava then used a Dragon Breath to counter the Fire Spin and cancel it out. Next, Vibrava followed up with Sand Tomb, which caused sand to rise up underneath Combustion's feet from underground somehow, and therefore entrap Combustion's both legs in some sand, which really worried Max, Ash, and Brock, while Drew commented that May was really messing some shit up, and looked over to Ash and the gang, wanting them to give an honest opinion, but of course they were hesitant to say that May was doing bad, because they didn't want to admit that in front of Drew, but, even they knew the situation looked pretty dire. Because Combuskin was fucking trapped, and no matter how much it struggled, it couldn't escape. It even tried to use Sky Uppercut to escape, but even then, that didn't work. May pleaded for it to get out, but it just couldn't. Just then, though, Combuskin's feathers started to glow a faint blue. Right as Vibrava was standing over it, threatening to attack it, Ash, Max, Brock, and Drew watched in anticipation as May wondered what the fuck this blue glowing was. And sure enough, this blue glowing stopped Combuskin from its freakout session that it was currently doing, because it was terrified of sinking fully into the sand, and it was able to escape from the sand tomb using a new move, Mega Kick, which May identified. Which Lillian remarked was possible because not just Combuskin's head feathers glowed blue, but its leg feathers did as well. Ash and the gang, including Drew, were amazed by this attack, honestly, but right as Combuskin broke free, much to May's delight, and landed on the safe ground outside of the sand, even though Brianna's points were taken down a little bit, May's points were still in a worse spot, and Vibrava didn't let up, unleashing another Dragon Breath, which hit Combuskin for great damage, reducing May's points even more. So now she only had like 10% left. Then, while Ash, Max, Drew, and Brock were back to panicking, while Drew was just making fun, May had Combuskin jump into the air for a Sky Uppercut, but Combuskin ended up missing, unfortunately, because Vibrava deflected the Sky Uppercut by using Sand Tomb and tried to trap Combuskin in the Sand Tomb. May was as worried as Ash and the gang that she would get trapped for a second time, but she realized she could just use Mega Kick again, so she had Combuskin use it to destroy the sand, stopping it from coming towards Combuskin, and then Combuskin descended down from the air after jumping up to deal with the sand with the Mega Kick again, causing Vibrava to crash into the ground and Combuskin to go with it. However, Vibrava took more damage, so it was knocked out, declared unable to battle by Lillian. So even though May had lost more points since Vibrava was unable to battle, May was declared the automatic winner, and officially she won the entire Chrysanthemum contest. So May quickly hugged her Combuskin, congratulating it on the victory, while Max, Ash, and Brock all celebrated from the stands and cheered May on, while Drew just smiled, admitting that May did do a bit of a good job. May and Combuskin were very happy with their win, and were even happier when all the coordinators who had lost, as well as the judges, came on the stage to congratulate May on the win, and Mr. Contesta presented May with the Chrysanthemum ribbon, her third Kanto ribbon overall. We then cut to a bit later on the beach, while the sun was setting, where May and Brianna were talking to each other, reflecting upon their contest performances, and talking about how fun their battle was. Brianna then says that she understood why Drew respected May. It was because of how good she was in contests, and promised that when she won a ribbon like May had, she would confess that she loved Drew, and hopefully earn his respect. Just then, Ash, Brock, Max, and Drew come to the beach to congratulate May, and they do. Then Brianna, upon seeing Drew, hides behind May and blushes, because, she really liked Drew and all that. May then asks Drew to say his true opinion and not just congratulate her when he probably didn't mean it. So Drew obliges and remarks that she wouldn't have won if Combuskin hadn't learned Mega Kick, and Drew turned to Brianna, telling her to come out from hiding as he congratulates her skills, saying that he already respected them, and suggested that eventually she should have her Vibrava evolve into Flygon. And he wishes Brianna luck, causing her to faint in amazement and shock. Drew reminds May that May only had 2 more ribbons to collect until she could enter the Grand Festival. May admits that she knew this, and asks Drew how many ribbons that he needed to collect still, but Drew just avoids the answer and walks away, wishing May luck as well, causing May to blush a little bit. Maybe she did like Drew after all. Anyways, while Drew was walking away, Ash told Pikachu how excited he was to participate in his next Frontier Brain battle at the Battle Palace, and Pikachu agreed. May then noticed that Brianna had fainted from pure shock, so while she was still blushing, watching Drew, she held Brianna in her arms. The episode then ends with one last scene from Team Rocket. Jessie was relaxing, sitting on the beach at night with Mime Jr., wanting to feel the breeze in order to relax and calm down from her loss earlier. James, Meowth, and Wobbuffet saw Jessie and Mime Jr. from the bushes, with James in shock that Mime Jr. was still with Jessie after all this time, because he always thought that someone as awesome as Mime Jr. wouldn't get along with someone as bitchy as Jessie, but they sat together for the entire night, while James, Meowth, and Wobbuffet continued to watch. And the moon shone very brightly